So this video is just a continuation of the previous video about significant figures practice problems. So sa video na to, let's have divide 62 by 25. So 62 divided by 25, if ilalagay nyo yan sa calculator nyo, if you will input that to your calculator, it will give you 2.48. So, pag kuha ng significant figures, if alam nyo na yung rules, there's no need for you to ask your teachers how many decimal places ang ilalagay nyo sa final answer ninyo. Actually, ang answer po sa tanong nyo ay nasa number mismo na ginamit nyo to divide. Let's say this example, you have 6 and 2, that 62 has two significant figures, and also 25 has two significant figures. And therefore, your final answer should also contain two significant figures. But in this case, your calculator gave you 2.48, which is three significant figures. So, ang gagawin mo dito, just have to count 1, 2. And you have to look at the number next to it. Because it's 8, so this time, we have to round it up to 2.5. So, the final answer now is 2.5. So, let's have example number 2. Let's have 11 times 23. Now, our calculator will give us 253. Again, we have two significant figures in this side. We also have two significant figures for this side. And therefore, we need to have a final answer na may two significant figures. But in this case, it's 3. Then we have to count 1, 2. And right next to number 5 is number 3. So there's no need for us to round up because number 3 naman yung kasunod. So the final answer is 250. Okay, let's have example number 3. We have 101 times, let me just erase this number to avoid confusion. Para makita talaga na 101 lang yan. 101 times 162. Okay, if you multiply that one, your calculator will give you 16362 or 16,362. If we look at the significant figures in this side, it has 3. 1, 2, 3. This side has also 3, 1, 2, 3, and therefore, your final answer should contain 3 significant figures. But dito, meron kang 5, and therefore, you have to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and look at the number next to it. That's 6, so we have to round up the number from 3 to 4. So, the final answer is 16,400. Okay, so let's have more examples. Let me erase this one first. How about if hindi magkaparehas yung significant figures ng numero na ginamit mo to multiply or divide? So, for example, this one, 0.0063. Let's multiply that one by 24. Actually, ito magkaparehas. So, we'll just have to finish na lang this example before we go to the other example wherein hindi magkaparehas yung kanilang significant figures. So, if you will put this one to your calculator, it will give you 0.1512. And the significant figures dito na side is 1, 2. Of course, this one is not significant because they are leading zeros. Okay, then this one is significant. So 2, 1, 2. So it has 2. This one has 2. So therefore, we need to have two significant figures also on our final answer. So this 0, all the zeros na before the decimal point is not significant. So we have to count 1, 2. And the number right next to 5 is 1. So hindi na po tayo magra-round up niyan. So the final answer is 0.15. Now, ito. Let's have 150 times 3. Let's multiply it with 3. Your calculator will give you 450. Now, we have here, in this side, the significant figures is 2, si 1 at saka si 5. Now, this 0 here is not significant because wala po siyang decimal place dito. So, if you want to know yung mga rules on how to determine if the number is significant or not, you can also refer to the video on my previous video, wherein ang link po ay nasa video description. And on this side, you only have one significant figures. Now, in this case, ang kailangan yung gawin is to follow the least significant. Yung pinaka-least na number of significant figures. So, dito we have 1, dito we have 2, so we have to follow one significant figures. So, the calculator gives us 450. So, it has two significant figures. Now, we have to change it to one significant figures. We have 4, and the next number to it is 5, and therefore, we have to round up to 500. So, 500 po ang final answer dyan. Let's have another example. So, another example is, we have 3016, again, times 3. It will give us 9,048. Now, sa side na to, we have 4 significant figures. Of course, 0 is significant because it is in between a significant number wherein non-zero digits. So, 0 therefore is significant. So, this has 4 significant figures. Ito isa. Now, we only need to have a final answer that contains 1 significant figures. And therefore, our answer is 9. Tapos, right next to it is 0, so there's no need for us to round up, and therefore, your final answer is 9,000. Next, we have 0.031 times 103.2. Our calculator will give us 3.1992. Okay, and if you notice, the significant figure here po is only 2. But the significant figures on this side is 4. We have 1, 0, 3, and 2. Okay, again, 0 here is significant because napapaloob siya, or it is bounded by 2 non-zero numbers. And if you will input that to your calculator, it will give you 3.1992. And this has 2 significant figures. This has 4 significant figures. So our final answer should only contain 2 significant figures. Now we have 3.1. And the number right next to 1 is 9. And therefore, we have to round up our answer to 3.2. But when it comes to addition and subtraction, iba yung kanyang rule on kung paano i-determine yung final answer or makuha yung kung ilang decimal places yung ilalagay mo sa final answer. Let's have example 13.0189. Let's add it to 1.2. This is 2. Okay. So, it will give us 9812.4. Okay, so this is our answer. So, whenever you add a number, then you want to get the final answer with the right decimal places. Yan, kailangan mo lang po isipin is, tingnan mo yung pinaka may konting significant figures. So, in this case, we have 1.2. So, this one has the least significant figures. And you have to just put a line. Let's change the color. Put a line there para makita mo na hanggang dyan lang yung number na that contains your final answer. In this case, our final answer is 14.2 because the number right next to 2 is 1. So, hindi po tayo magra-round up dyan. So, the right answer is 14.2. Next, let's have 95.00 plus 16. And we have plus 128.113. So, our calculator will give us this answer. Okay? So, titingnan lang natin kung nasaan yung pinakamaliit, pinakakonti na significant figures sa ginamit natin na number. So, we have here 1 and 6 because 95.00, these two zeros here are significant. They are called trailing zeros, which is right on the decimal place. Right siya ni decimal point. So, gagawin natin is just have to put a line there. And we have now our final answer. 239. Kasi the number naman next to 9 is 1. So there's no need for us to round up. So the answer is 239. So how about subtraction? So let's have 69.21 minus 17.8721. So your calculator will give you, let's have 51.3379. Same thing pa rin, you have to check kung sino yung pinakamaliit. May konting significant figures sa mga values na ginamit mo to subtract. So we have 69.21. So just have to draw a line in there or just count. Ilan? So you have 4, so you have 4. And the number right next to it is 7. And therefore, you have to round up number 3. And therefore, your final answer is 51.34. Now, how about scientific notations? So, when it comes to scientific notations, let's say, for example, we have 5.43 times 10 to the 15. Now, significant figures is only yung mga numero na nasa mantesa. So, ito yun. Let me change first the color. So, ito. Kung i-determine natin yung significant figures, we have to neglect this part here. Ito. Neglect this one and concentrate on your mantesa, which is, in this case, we have 5.43. So, dito na example, we have 3 significant figures. Okay, so, let's divide a scientific notation. Let's say 2.0 times 10 to the 13. Let's divide that by 8.340 times 10 to the 8. Okay. So, of course, if you have your Casio calculator, then there's no need for you to do this because mas madali naman dun. However, if you don't have your scientific calculator, what you can do is you just have to first, of course, divide. Or, of course, mas madali pa rin may calculator. But, you have to do it like this. 2.0 divided by 8.340. Again, it will give us, dito lang sa baba, a very ugly number, 0.239, 808135. So, napakahaba. And again, it would still, ang rule pa rin ay yung pinakamaliit na may pinakamaliit na significant figures, siya pa rin yung ating kukunin. No? So, 2.0. So, you have 2.0. So, you have 2 significant figures. So, dito, 2 at saka sa 3. Tapos, 9 ang number right next to it. So, you have 0.24. Then, you have to divide itong dalawa. 10 to the 13 at saka si 10 to the 8, which is ito. So, of course, if we divide a number, we are to subtract their exponent. So, 13 minus 8 is 5, so 10 to the 5th. However, hindi pa po yan yung final answer. So it gives us an answer of 0.24 times 10 to the 5th power. But this one here is not yet our final answer because ang proper na pagsulat ng scientific notation ay ilagay yung dapat meron pong 1 digit dito sa unahan, which is in this case kailangan si 2 ang nandito. So we have to move our decimal point to the right. So magiging 2.4. If we move 1 step to the right, ang decimal point natin, we move it to the right, then ang mangyayari dito sa exponent ay it becomes 4. So, bababa din po siya ng isa. And therefore, our final answer is 2.4 times 10 to the 4th power. So, that's how you will get your final answer when you multiply and divide. Okay? And that ends this video. Thank you so much for watching.